You may notice that I am finally back home. After VidCon in Anaheim and the NNEDV, the National Network to End Domestic Violence's Tech Summit, I spent the week probably watching more Netflix than I should and have finally recovered and am finishing up the last of these videos. This video is a summary of what I learned and want to share from the NNEDV's Tech Summit. The Tech Summit was very different than VidCon. So VidCon was the internet's great all the time, it's amazing. Tech Summit was much more focused on, was much more aware of how technology can be abused, and its sole purpose was to teach victim advocates and law enforcement how technology is being abused so they can recognize it, and then also how they can use technology to aid in their services and how they can use it to protect the survivors. The Tech Summit was also very different, as it focused on very targeted cyber harassment, which is what I believe is probably more common. Whereas we hear all of these stories of these cyber mobs attacking one person, these individual cases of technology and social media being used in a domestic violence context and an abusive relationship seems far more likely, and we just don't hear those stories. In terms of what I learned at NNEDV that I think a viewer should know, if you are a target of harassment or if you are a victim advocate, etc. First, the internet is not a bad thing. The internet is a tool that can be used correctly and as a great resource for all sorts of different things, or it can be abused. The internet is not necessarily inherently bad. Best thing you can do is to be aware of what you are sharing, how and with whom. For example, you take a Facebook status. Who can see the Facebook status? What information are you sharing, and where does that go? How can be reshared? That type of awareness. It seems like these platforms just say, share all your information. Look how easy it is. It's such a great way to connect with friends. And it is. And that intuitiveness is awesome. It makes it very easy to use, to the point that I've grown up on it, and I'm like, of course, Mom, you do this. And just as I have that kind of intuition as a millennial who grew up with technology of how to use it. We need to practice this awareness of the power of information. This information can be abused. Are you sharing information about location or what you're doing, different things like that? It can be very powerful. Also, think about how your friends and family share information. For example, my uncle wanted to is posting pictures going through my grandmother's house of old photos. He tried to tag me in a baby picture of myself with my little brother, and I first had to approve that this picture would show up on my own timeline. One lesson I learned that I think everybody should do is when you get your phone, you're using a new email or Facebook, pull up the settings, go through all of them. What's your privacy settings? Who can see your information? What is the information you're sharing? Are you sending them demographic information about yourself? Are you sharing your location? All of these different things. Click on all of the different screens and see what you're sharing and who you're sharing them with. And all of this is a lot of information that is contained on this device or your iPhone or whatever. And try to be aware of where it goes. Another great tip I learned was, if you are being harassed, is to document the harassment. So keep a journal or a log of saying, this is what happened at this day, on this time, on this platform. And finally, don't victim blame. It is not somebody's fault if they don't understand the technology and they are being abused on that technology. Keep in mind, it is not the victim's fault for being a victim or the survivor's fault for being harmed. It's the abuser's fault. So if people don't understand the technology, say, would you like to understand?